Hi, I'm Dr. Sandy Chapnick. Welcome back to another episode of You and Your Health. Well, I've been very fortunate. Something that I've wanted to do forever and ever in my office is to introduce yoga. And just by happenstance, over the summer, ran into a wonderful yoga teacher, and we found a way to make it work in our office. Well, after a good couple of months and a growing class size, the yoga teacher that we had decided she wanted to pursue her acting career. So fortunately, she put me in touch with another fabulous yoga instructor. And because of how it's working so far in our office, and because yoga has become more and more popular as time has gone on, I wanted to be able to introduce you, my Bill Ricca public, to our new yoga instructor. Her name is Jenny Smyth. Let me tell you a little bit about Jenny before I introduce you. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology from UMass Dartmouth. She's worked in the corporate business setting as an HR and recruiting for 25 years and developed and managed her own software engineering placement firm for 10 years. During the 25 years in corporate America, she was always drawn to yoga classes, and she would do those once a week to de-stress and unwind. Volunteering in her community, she's coached basketball and lacrosse and can be found running the pizza stand at Chelmsford High School girls volleyball games, I guess for her daughter. Working with student athletes has been a part of Jenny's ongoing interest in fitness, nutrition, body-mind connection, and injury prevention. Upon leaving corporate America, she was able to follow her passion full-time, that of yoga. After enrolling in yoga school, she earned certifications in various branches of yoga theory and practice, and is now on the path to sharing her love of yoga. Teaching several classes a week in her Chelmsford studio, she also teaches at the Bill Ricca Recreation Center, has private clients, including the Girl Scouts of America, and is excited to partner with, yes, Bill Ricca Chiropractic Office to help our patients gain health and wellness. She lives in Chelmsford with her husband, 2 teenage kids, a cat and a dog, and all sorts of other fun stuff. And it is great to have you, Jenny.
Thank you.
As on my show and as part of our office. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, how'd you first get into yoga? What began you on your journey?
Well, being in corporate America, stress. You know,
really? Stress? Stop it.
You probably don't hear that from your
Never,
clients.
never at all.
And so, you know, my shoulders would come up and up and up near my ears.
Did you ever get them past your ears? Because that's when you know you're really stressed.
And then I couldn't sleep at night, and I just didn't feel good. And I knew something had to work, you know, for me to kind of bring my stress levels down.
Okay.
So I tried different things, and then one day I happened into a yoga class.
Okay.
And
how long ago was this?
This is about 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this has been a while.
Yes.
Okay.
And I remember trying to settle down and trying to, you know, kind of get on the mat and try to breathe and settle down. My mind was making my laundry lists and shopping and what I needed to do at work, and I just couldn't quiet my mind. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to stick with it. Every week I'm going to try a little bit more. I kind of thought it was a little silly at first, but every week I'd go back and every week I'd try. And then eventually I started to quiet my mind. And as I started to quiet my mind, my shoulders started to come down from the ears a little bit.
Beautiful.
And my whole life started to change, and I found that relaxation I was looking for.
And did you find that it really was now pervasive through not just being on the mat, but through the rest of your day?
Absolutely. And as I tell my students now, and I learned this lesson a long time ago, is you can find your peace, and I call it the mountain when we do our mountain posture, which is the perfect posture as we stand tall and breathe deeply. And we bring oxygen right into the lungs and just totally relax the body. I said, you can find your mountain anytime. Just stand tall, breathe deep, close the eyes and relax. And within 2 or 3 breaths, you can pretty much come back down to a nice...
I've always referred to that as anchoring. Yeah. Is that a term that you use?
No, I don't. I don't use the term anchoring, but I can see how it's think of the feet, you're grounding yourself.
You're anchoring yourself to that state of mind that you want to be in.
It's your foundation.
Yes. So you have some different certifications, some different teaching styles. Give me a little bit of an idea of, A, what you had to go through, what the certificates mean, and some of the things that you do and teach.
Okay. Well, as I started out on my search to become a yoga teacher, I found a company called Yoga Fit. They're out of California.
Okay.
What I liked about Yoga Fit is that not only do they teach across the country, so I could travel maybe close to home or not so far away to take classes, and the classes were just on weekends as opposed to going away for a week or 500 hours, so to speak, for 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
So I like that. And Yoga Fit is a system that has been developed to kind of mainstream yoga. In other words, make it a little bit more accessible to the people that go to health clubs, or the average folks, not those who want to go chanting and all zenning and all this stuff. Just
like out in the western part of the state in Kupala.
right.
Okay.
So this is a couple steps away from that.
All right.
So, and I like that because I wanted yoga to be for everybody, and I figured that, kind of learning from this method would allow me to teach different populations and kind of relate to them.
Okay.
So the first class I took was a foundation in teaching yoga, and so that was great, and I learned how to be a teacher, and at that point I could start teaching. And then I took a class in teaching seniors.
Okay.
And I love that because I have to be honest, that was one of my inspirations to become a yoga teacher.
Really?
Was watching my parents age.
Okay.
And they started to slow down and they couldn't move as well. And, I
Their
said,
flexibility goes, their balance goes, and I know yoga is huge in bringing that back for people.
yes. And I just said, I just think the seniors need it. And so that was one of my, shall I say, one of my main classes is teaching seniors.
And now when you say seniors,
Well,
give me an age range.
okay, and it can be a special population. It can be people that are, anywhere on their journey in their lifespan that may have limitations.
Okay.
So the word seniors can be used to say special populations or special conditions.
Okay.
So if someone has a really bad injury and they're kind of coming back, it's at my senior class I call gentle yoga,
Okay.
and I call them beginner yoga classes.
Okay.
So I have a 75-year-old woman who started doing her yoga in a chair, and now she does the down dog on all fours and all kinds of things. So
I was going to ask you whether you can do chair yoga or something like that.
yes, and that was the great thing about this class is it taught me how to teach people in a chair.
Okay.
So that when someone comes to my class, they can be seated on the floor, or they can be seated in a chair. And each person will have the same experience and be able to do the same postures. So I did seniors, I did children's yoga.
Now, how'd the kids get into it?
Oh, wow. It's awesome. Because, I have a group of kids that I teach on a Friday afternoon. We started under the oak tree on Fridays after school.
Ooh.
And there's a group of 6 of them, and they're siblings.
Give me an age.
There's 3 of them are 6, and 3 of them are 10.
Wow.
Okay.
6-year-olds doing yoga?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And because yoga is play. And even for adults, I bring in play. Because we have to laugh and have some fun.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All about that.
That's what it's about. So the kids, they come into it, and we have scarves and music, and we run around, and then we build like bridges, and we climb under, and then we do partner yoga and get on each other's backs and bend forward and back and just have fun with it. And to be honest, I really didn't think that, kids, I don't know. I have never been a teacher, and I raised a couple kids, but I didn't know how I would be with them, but they were great. And if I may interject a really quick story about the kids.
I love stories.
Okay, well, we created yoga performance, the kids and I.
Yoga performance. Okay. So
So we
like bringing a little acting, dancing along
Well,
with it?
we set up a picture, and everybody has a posture. And we're all intermingled and touching each other and balancing upon each other and coming into kind of a silent posture. And then I take a picture, and we call that our performance.
Okay.
So I got them all ready, and they were all lined up, and they were ready, and they were smiling, and they were looking in the camera, and they were all ready. And then they said, "Now, Jenny, you come and sit right in front."
Oh.
And when I tell the story, I laugh because I said, "No one ever said that to me in corporate America."
Come sit in front. Wow. That's pretty cool. So are there any other populations? I mean, we have kids, we have seniors.
I have taken Yoga Lean, and that's for the population that would like to lose weight. And so we do a lot of exercises that build core strength, a lot more movement, and a lot more of aerobic yoga postures.
Okay.
And that also incorporates the mind in the practice, which yoga does, and we could talk about that. But in Yoga Lean, we really zero in on, okay, what's, if you will, what's the deeper cause for the problems, or if you will, or for eating or overeating, or anything that anyone would do to that would be destructive to their health.
Okay.
And we start to work on the root of those problems, and we use yoga, self-reflection, meditation as part of the process. So I do have a group that I work with, and we meet once a week, and we talk about nutrition, and then we do yoga, and we've had phenomenal results. Myself, I've lost 25 pounds in about 6 months since I started.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Yeah.
The big reason that I wanted to introduce yoga into our practice is because I know that as we age, we lose flexibility, we lose balance. Our core strength, unless it's worked on a regular basis, certainly goes away. And as you pointed out at the very beginning, the stress levels are through the roof. And I wanted someone in the office to be able to help my patients regain and restore and settle down so that they can really help their adjustments in their body really work to the best of its ability. So I'm so thrilled that we now have this alliance and you're actually in the office. It makes things so easy. So yoga, the word itself, where does it come from?
Well, it's an ancient word. Yoga has been around for about 5,000 years.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And the whole practice has, which is crazy when you think about it. And pretty much everything and anything is born of yoga. And what I mean by that is like the power of positive thinking, many different religions, how we treat people, maybe Zen, whatever it might be. If you really go to the root and go back, it's really the practice of yoga. And yoga means yolk. So it means it's the, so if you think of an egg,
right,
and you think of the body, maybe the shell,
okay,
the mind,
okay,
and the breath. And that's what yoga does. We bring it all together. We bring the body and the mind together through the breath. And we block everything else out.
I like it.
So that's the yoga. So that's why when people say, oh, it's all yoga, or I'm living my yoga, what you're really doing is you're focusing on the moment and yourself and just doing the right thing. So there's the philosophy behind it, which is a huge area to talk about someday, but there's that positive philosophy.
We could certainly have a whole series of shows here. So how does yoga relate to the idea of wellness and healing?
Well, and that's where we come in our partnership, in that, in the areas that you're concerned with your patients. Okay, so we talk about the shoulders being high on, here. And so I would ask, what are some of the primary ailments that your clients would come to you that you have to fix up? I know, of course, it's the spine and all, but what parts of the body are really, hurting? Okay.
And you can do that on a real individual basis in the classes, let's say at Bill Ricka Chiropractic. So you'd be able to do that on an individual basis as people are there in front of you.
Yeah, so example, if someone came in and said, well, I'm healing a shoulder. What we do is, in the whole series of exercises, stretch out the area, and then we strengthen the area.
Perfect.
Okay, and after every class, the back, or the spine, is the primary area. Lots of stretching, lots of spinal twists, lubricating the discs, etc., strengthening lots of spinal balances, and then, of course, shoulders, and then hips, a lot of opening in the hips, and then a lot of strengthening, a lot of balance. We do standing balances on our feet, on our toes. We lift up the arches and balance that way. So we become aware of our body and how our body is moving in the moment. And then when we do our relaxation, say a child's posture or another posture, I'll say, okay, focus on the breath. Where are you feeling it right now? Where do you feel a little tension? Where do you feel a little pain? Send the breath there. Let's release that area and just let it kind of subside a little bit with the pain. So one of your patients can say, this is an area that we're working on with the doctor, and I can incorporate 3 or 4 postures into the practice that evening just for them.
Fabulous. So is there like a standard set protocol of what one of your classes would look like?
Yes.
Take us through it.
Okay, we start out with a warm-up. And so we sit very comfortably. We focus on the breath. And we do a lot of neck work in the beginning, like the neck from side to side. We might draw a figure 8 with our nose, and we close our eyes, and that's awesome. And then we go the whole body to the shoulders, then we do a little twist of the spine, then we open up different for the hips, for the knees. I have little knee things that we do, ankles, toes, fingers, shoulders, warm it up.
Okay.
And once we're warm, then we might get onto all fours and do like spinal balances and cats and cows, lifting up and down.
Okay.
And then we'll get nice and warm in the spine, and then we might go into different things like, some balancing on the forearms for the neck and, trapezius and the shoulders and all this.
Okay.
And we'll do those, and then we'll work to the hips. And the thing about yoga is, with each posture, we do a counter posture. Because yoga is all about balance. Don't you love that?
Love that.
So we'll do a forward.
I'm liking this even more and more.
We do a forward, and then we do a back.
Okay.
We open the heart, then we come back down. We do something for the kidneys, and then we relax down. So everything we do a counter. We'll go one way, we go the other way. And it's funny because I tell my students, I said, notice balance. Notice how, you might be a little looser or tighter on one side than the other. And that's what the yoga conversation is about with the body. It's about, okay, what do I need to do to kind of balance my body?
Interesting. Yeah. Now, do you have background music along with this? How do you work that in at all?
I do. No? I have music. Sometimes I play music. It's and especially at the end when we do what's called Shavasana, which is our final relaxation. So when we're done with all our work, and then of course, what's a yoga class without your warrior postures? Okay. And then we lay down and we relax. And I just tell them to start breathing, and then I might put on some nice meditative music of like a little waterfall or something. And then for about 5 to 10 minutes, I put them through kind of a meditative process where they just relax and open and release everything in their body. And they always say that's their favorite part of the class. Oh yeah,
see, to me that would be just nap time. So, yoga is still out there for some people. It's not as mainstream as I think either you or I would like it to be just yet. Why do you think that there is some apprehension about it?
That's a good question. I ask that question all the time to my students. Well, first of all, I think the public thinks that, number one, this is what I've been told too, that there's a lot of chanting. And I don't do chanting in my classes. And, at this level, if they want to go to Kripalu and do chanting or go on a retreat, they can, but we don't do that.
Right.
They think that you have to be a pretzel. Okay,
yeah.
You don't have to be the pretzel that twists in. You can be the straight pretzel if you want.
Well, yeah, I would be the pretzel rod. Because I get people who say, I can't do that, I'm not flexible. But that's why you should do it.
Exactly. And then, and that's why I often say, well, guys, look at me. And I started, 25 years ago and 25 pounds heavier when I first even opened my studio. And I said, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And so that's why I really get out there and I put myself out there because it's worth it. It's worth the effort. It's worth trying. It's worth, you may like it. Chances are you'll like it. Let's put it that way.
It's funny. I've worked out my whole life, and I'm a big fan, big believer, and big preacher of cross training. Well, back when I was in chiropractic school, I finally took a yoga class, and I was probably about 23, 24, 25. I can tell you that it was the hardest workout I ever did, and I remember for 3 days I couldn't even move. I was on my couch. It blew me away how, if you really go at it, how strenuous it can be, and that you can literally build up your body doing it. And fast forward 20 odd years, I saw a concert of Sting from the Police, and here was this guy who was probably he's got to be 60-ish already, and at one point he was on stage and he took his shirt off and he was chiseled, absolutely chiseled, and I find out that all he does is yoga. And that blew me away, that you could get a body like that from just doing yoga. So that, along with all the other health benefits, I like that as well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So What do you think the top benefits are of yoga?
I would say if I had to list the top benefits, number one, it would be the mind. You quiet the mind.
Okay.
Number two, it would be, of course, the flexibility that you get from doing the stretches and the opening that you get in the chest and the heart and the release of stress hormones, cortisol, etc. You just kind of release that away. You detox through breathing and through sweating, and that's huge. And then you build the muscle, which is fantastic. It goes from the mat into your life. So as it goes into your life, that's where you find your peace in the world, and then you kind of take your breath, and it's awesome. So you just love it.
I do like that. So you mentioned here that you're linking yoga with longevity. So give me some stories. Tell me a little bit about why do you think that is?
Okay, well, the first thing is, this is really cute. I read this book about, all these yoga books, and this one book I've looked at 100 times, and I'd read and read and read about this yoga master guru. And I'd look at all the photographs. Then one day I looked at the photograph, and there it was. It said, he's celebrating his centennial. And
so that's in 100 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I looked at that and I went, I said, okay, well, if he's celebrating his centennial, that means that when you're 50, it's not like you're going down, it's 50 and you're going up. Because he's 50 and he's doing all his yoga, and 100, and he looks awesome. So I said, it's all good.
It's all good.
Okay. So now there's also been, you'll see, and I'm sure you know more about this than I, studies done with the brain, and of course fitness, and keeping fit, and the brain and the movement, and what it looks like in the 80+ sector. Right. And of course healthy foods. So it's all linked to movement, breath, relaxation. So that's part of it too. So there's been a lot of research, and I've read a lot of research in these areas. So I am totally on board.
Well, I know that some of the research that physical exercise increases the number of neurons in your brain, and cognitive exercise actually will increase their lifespan. So putting those two together, and you can easily do that, at least in part with yoga, will allow your body and your brain to just work better and longer.
Right, and then some of our postures, and we just moving, and we can reverse signs of arthritis and other, unfortunately diseases that are related to getting older.
Well, arthritis is, the way I always describe arthritis is it's rust. Your joints get rusty, and the only way to get a joint or get something that's rusty moving is you have to oil it and move it. Well, yoga is all about movement, and movement is yoga, so you start doing that on a regular basis, literally you're kind of oiling your joints, and you're getting them functioning, and they won't squeak as much. That's right. And I refer to the squeaking as your body's telling you it's pain. So if you do that, I kind of like it. So let's see, what else do we want to talk about here before we sign off? Your fondest moment so far, have we discussed it?
No. My fondest yoga moment, there's a lot of them, but the one that comes to mind is my whole family practices yoga with me, and my husband will be seen at my classes, and the big joke is, and his name is Tom, if Tom's at the class, he's the brunt of all my jokes. If he's not at the class, he's the brunt of all my jokes. So he better show up. So, and everybody teases him.
That's a classic husband-wife thing.
So
all right, go ahead.
That's Tom. And then my older daughter, who's a senior, comes to my classes. I also teach a hot yoga class in my studio.
Oh, you do? Because I know that's out there, and I didn't ask you about it. So you do that too?
Yes. Well, the official hot yoga is about 110 degrees, and it's 26 postures done at a very regimented form. My room is about 80 degrees, so you do get a nice sweat and the heat coming. And I do what's called a vinyasa flow, which is a very flowing with the breath and the movement. You get a great workout. You get, a little detoxation coming. Oh, it feels awesome. Warming up the joints, especially in the winter. It's awesome. So my daughter, my 17-year-old, will come to that. But this is where I'm going. My 14-year-old, when she started doing yoga with me, she was probably about 12. And I brought her to a couple classes with me. And at the end of class, as we're laying down in what's called Shavasana, which is final relaxation, we're laying on the mat, the eyes are closed, we're meditating, relaxing. And I reached my hand out, and there was her little hand, and we held hands through the whole relaxation. All right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's precious.
You're getting me. All right, good.
And I'll never forget that. All right, I'm pulling at the heartstrings.
All right, so where do you see yoga going?
Okay, well, and one thing I'd like to say too that you'll get a kick out of is in one of my classes, I had a woman who was expecting a baby and a 99-year-old. And that's in the same class. Okay, so and after the class, the woman who was expecting said to me, "My baby enjoyed the class." Okay?
Oh, see, that's cool.
Okay, and the reason is because of the postures that we do. The baby, there's certain ways you can adjust the baby, and the baby gets to move, and it's awesome. So I also am certified in prenatal yoga. So that's where I see it. I see it for kids. I see it for women expecting prenatal. I see it for postnatal. I see it for teenagers. I see it for athletes. I see it for middle life. I see it as you get older, and I see it up to the age of 100 and beyond. So I would like to see...
With you teaching it.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my husband does not want me to retire.
Smart guy.
Yeah. And I see it more of a community, and that's the way I present it. Say on Veterans Day, I send out an email and say, "Hey, moms, dads, kids, you have the day off. Come in, let's do yoga." And I have a whole bunch of people showing up and families.
Now, how many guys?
Oh, perfect question for me.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I have my husband. He's not my token male because I have other guys.
You do.
And people have said to me, men are drawn to my class. Now, again, I don't think it's because I'm a little pretzel or anything like that. I think it's because they can relate to me and I can relate to them. I kind of make it fun. And I always tell a joke. And I make everyone feel like you don't have to fit into the posture. Let the posture fit into you. Whatever works for today. Just bring your best. Do your best. It's all good.
So give me your last 15, 20 seconds of what you want them to know.
What I would like them to know is that they should try yoga. Everybody should try yoga.
It is for everybody.
It is for everybody, absolutely. You should try it regardless of where you are on the journey. Some people come into yoga because they're stressed. Some people come in because they have an injury. There's all different paths. They all lead down the same road towards yoga. Everybody should try it. Give it a go. You'll love it.
I love it. And now you can find it here at Bill Ricka Chiropractic. You have classes Wednesday nights at 7:15, and if things go the way we expect them to, we expect to add a class on Saturday mornings. Well, this has been fun. I'm really thrilled that you're in with our office, that you're bringing another dynamic to Bill Ricka Chiropractic office. This is Jenny Smyth. She can be found at our office, and I wish you a happy Thanksgiving, a joyous holiday season, and I'll see you next month.